Assalamu alaikum from the beautiful city of Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, where we'll kick off the Mobile Legends Bang Bang Mid-Season Cup 2024 with the wildcard stage. And hello everyone, welcome. My name is Good Boy LaFell, and I'm with Bad Boy Mergo, as you can tell from the hair.
I don't know if my hair is considered bad boy.
No, you're just bad.
I'm just bad?
You're just bad.
Well, you're just good then, bro.
I'm good. Good boy. Look at my hair. The hair is the crown for a dude.
It is. It truly is the crown. And for you guys right now, we'll technically be able to crown the winners of Group A just today with 6 amazing best of ones.
Yeah, honestly, this wildcard stage is going to be interesting. We got 2 groups where, again, we'll be showing you guys the format to really catch up, just in case if you guys have no idea what's going on for today, tomorrow, and the day after. Because after 3 days, we'll be looking at which team will actually be joining the top 16 teams in MSC.
Well, you know what? Let's start with predictions here, LaFell, because we're going to be doing Group A, 6 matches. All right, simple.
Group A, Group B is going to be Homeboys.
Homeboys is not in Group A, bro.
Homeboys is in Group B, I understand. But they're so good, they're going to Group A and then beat the rest.
We've been passing for a long time now. I think you should know the pattern when we predict teams. You know, it usually doesn't go well.
Oh.
And you just had to jinx Homeboys twice. But hey,
I had to talk to myself for that one.
Yeah, it's okay.
I didn't know which cop out in his mind.
Me neither, you know, but it's okay, LaFell. Sometimes you let that happen. It's okay. As long as
it's okay?
Yeah, keep it down, bro. It's okay.
Okay, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Maybe because you double jinxed, it's neutral now.
Okay, you know what? Here's the thing. For the next 3 days, right? For the next 3 days, we'll determine which team will go to the top 16 teams. You guys want to see how the wild card will pan out? Let's watch this video.
Welcome, Warriors, to the grandest stage of them all, the Esports World Cup in Riyadh. Here, legends are made and champions rise from the ashes of battle. Last year, we witnessed the meteoric rise of Fnatic Onyx from Indonesia as they claimed the MSC at the M5 Championship. Fnatic Onyx faced their toughest challenge yet, clashing with the mighty Falcons AP Bren from the Philippines. In an epic showdown, Falcons AP Bren emerged victorious with a nail-biting 4-3 victory, etching their name in history once again. Now, the question on everyone's mind, can Fnatic Onyx defend their MSC champion title? Or will the M5 champions, Falcons AP Bren, continue their reign of dominance? This year, the stakes are higher than ever as teams from around the world converge in Riyadh for a chance at glory. 3 weeks, 3 stages, 1 ultimate champion. Let's dive into the battlegrounds. First stage, the wildcard stage. 8 teams, 2 groups, 1 shot at glory. In this high-stakes round robin, every match is a best of 1, where victory and defeat hang by a thread. The top team from each group will face off in an epic best-of-5 decider match. The winner moves on, the loser goes home. Simple, brutal, legendary. Stage 2, the group stage. 16 teams, 4 groups, battle-hardened and ready for war. This is where champions are forged. Each team faces off in a series of 2 matches. It's a marathon, not a sprint, where every point counts. If a tie breaks out, a sudden death best of 1 will decide their fate. The top 2 teams of each group advance to the playoffs. Lastly, the knockout stage. 8 teams, single elimination, no second chances. The quarterfinals and semifinals are grueling best-of-5 matches, testing every ounce of skill and strategy. And the grand finale, a legendary best-of-7 showdown where only the strongest will claim the crown. As the dust settles and the final moments draw near, the stakes have never been higher. Teams from every corner of the globe will battle fiercely in Riyadh, each one driven by the dream of glory. Southeast Asia's dominance is challenged as teams from other regions rise, ready to upset the balance and seize glory for themselves. The stage is set. The Warriors are ready. Who will emerge victorious? Welcome to the Mid-Season Cup 2024 of Esports World Cup in Riyadh, where legends are born and history is made.
Simple, brutal, legendary. Shoutouts to Nice. We got to talk about wildcard. Again, 2 groups, 4 teams. Only one from Group A, one from Group B, and then afterwards they're going to be playing a best of 5, where again, only one team will make it through and join the MSC.
That's the simple part, right? The format, very, very simple to keep up with. It's a round robin straight into playoffs, and then we'll have the first team, or the only team rather, that would qualify to the main stage. But man, the brutal part comes into that best of 1. Technically, even the main stage format is brutal, Lethal.
Yeah.
It's going to be, in a knockout stage, a single elimination bracket. So here, best of 1. Later on, single elimination bracket. And even in the groups, we're going to see 2 teams get eliminated from each group.
Dude, here's the thing. Like, the mental of the team is going to get tested because
For sure.
I heard that KBG are not good with that. Like, the moment they lose, they start going on a downward spiral. I hope, and the one that is actually bringing them up is Tracy and Saksa. So we got to talk about Group A, Xeno Zenith, Keep Best Gaming, Entity 7, S2G Esports, and for Group B, it's going to be IHC Esports, Train to Kill, Homeboys, Group Force. Now let's ask a simple question. Which group is the tougher one, and why is it Group B?
You know, I think the question, why is it Group B? It's one of the questions of all time here.
One of the questions of all
If
time.
you take a look at the group itself, IHC, Train to Kill, Homeboys, Brute Force, the 3 teams with IHC, Homeboys, and Brute Force, I would say they're the top 3 teams that a lot of people are coming in in their heads, you know, with their expectations. Train to Kill, though, a lot of people in the community as well have just been talking about how great they were at team fights, and especially considering now in the meta, it is favoring those team fighting teams, those damage output teams. TTK could be a solid dark horse, too.
And now we got to talk about today's schedule. It's going to be starting with KBG going up against S2G. Afterwards, it's going to be Entity 7 going up against Zen, and STG will be going up against Zen. But that's not all the matches that we have today. Those are only the first 3. Because afterwards, we will have 3 more matches. A total of 6 matches today, where we'll see everything from Group A. E7 going up against KBG, Zen going up against KBG, and then ending the day, it's going to be S2G going up against E7.
And again, all these matches will be played with a best of 1. So it's going to be quite crazy. We're going to see the results of the group instantly on day number 1. And then later, day number 2, we'll get to see Group B unfold as well. And then the final day, it's done for the playoffs.
Dude, with that kind of... I need energy. I need Rockstar, man.
You know why?
Yeah.
Because you're a rock star.
You're a rock star. Yeah, I need more energy. I need more energy.
Talk, man.
I got that energy. We got to talk about the first team, right? Because I got to say, KBG, sweethearts. Because the last time I met them, it was during wildcard for the previous M series. And they say they apologized because they wanted to be in the top of groups. And they're actually apologizing like they couldn't reach their goal. And they're like, no, this time during the MSC wildcard, they'll bring it. But I gotta say, man, even Group A is gonna be tough for KBG.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's going to be very, very tough for KBG. Group A, I think S2G and E7 are coming in as the tournament favorites, well, as the Group A favorites. Meanwhile, we have Xeno Zenith, who improved their lineup as well, but I think we'll stick to KBG for a bit, because in their lineup, they have 2 players that played in the M5 wildcard, but everybody else, it's a bit different.
Yeah, and now we gotta talk about Keep Best Gaming. We're coming in from China again. They have a lot, I don't know how to say it, but they have been traveling, they've been screaming outside of China, making sure that they have more experience going up against Southeast Asian teams. And we do have to see Keep Best Gaming. How have they developed after their own run in their own region?
With improvements to the lineup, KBG, it almost looked like in the Chinese qualifiers that they might not even be able to make it to the playoff stage.
Yeah.
According to a lot of analysts there, you know, they were kind of shaky all the way from the start, but then with some solid reinforcements, especially Saksa joining them in the jungle, a team that actually was able to take that wildcard victory back in M5 for a different team. It was SMG back in the day. So he's going to bring that veterancy, that experience to KBG, and hopefully this time KBG can do it.
I would say KBG have the right idea, because looking at how they draft, they're going to prioritize the goal later, and then after that, they're going to focus on how to strengthen their mid-trio, where we saw many different teams using the same formula, where making sure your mid-trio is as strong as possible so that you can contest for the turtles, and then ending up with a very good team fight. So we really have to see whether their strategy of strengthening the mid-trio is going to work out or not. Now we got to talk about S2G as well, where looking at the team, there's promise, right? But there's also I would say redemption for them, because people are up and down on them based on their previous performances. So they got to perform in wildcard so that people are on their side again.
I think for S2G, it's a bit harsh to say, but we're always going to have to, you know, refer to them as second place in their region. Yeah. We're always going to have to try to compare
where the difference is
to
far apart.
And the difference is quite different, right? For Firefox, we have seen them be all-around solid from the early game to the late game. Before S2G, it's a bit different. They want to play towards the mid to late, especially to Sigibum. As long as Sigibum gets those, you know, hyper carry heroes, I think the best reference for me as an Indonesian will be Araki Hoshi.
Yeah.
They play pretty similarly to Araki Hoshi. They play with a 4-1 strategy where they have 4 members to protect that one member, and that member is Sigibum. So it's all about getting the hyper carry into the late stage. But honestly, in a best of 1, they might go and try to utilize that strategy, that one-dimensional strategy, to throw it over to the enemy team as a curveball. Because we have seen them go with assassins in the jungle as well.
One thing we do gotta say is that Lunar as well as Kazue, they've been to MSC before in Cambodia, where, again, not the best of runs with Firefly's impunity, but again, they had the experience. Perhaps it will help them out in this match going up against Keep Best Gaming, where I kind of feel like Keep Best Gaming, they have a lot to prove, because they don't play the server that we're playing for quite a while, so they gotta adjust very, very fast.
Yeah, especially now looking at the meta, right? It'll be definitely very, very interesting, especially with the new events.
Yeah, honestly, looking at the new events, go to your game, because the MSC event preview is already starting. Make sure you guys get as much coins as you can, because I already got my Valentina skin, and I'm not kidding. Yeah, you can
Bro,
get it.
It just got out.
No, just
got released.
Do you want to look at my phone? Do you want to look at my account? I got the Valentina skin.
I believe you, but
okay.
Like, how many games did you play?
Oh, and, I just bought it.
Oh. Well, you know, sometimes it do be like that. For everybody else, though, you guys can go and play, grind out that battle pass, and also the Battle Within, the Soul Vessel skin series cinematic trailer is out. You guys can go and check it out, because, man, those skins look real good. Those effects, those clean.
Yeah, and the reason why I got it early, because there's a 20% discount.
Only on the first draw?
Okay, you know what? I'll show you my account, because then it'll be easier to explain. But either ways, after this, one of the things that we do have to talk about is how the teams are going to differ in the way that they drop. Because before this, again, Keep Best Gaming, they like to pick out their gold laner early. In fact, looking back into the stats, that their gold laner as well as their mid has the least amount of hero pool. So they got to make sure that they got their heroes locked in first before it's taken away from the enemy. But here's the thing. The patch has changed. They have practiced with a lot of heroes. Maybe the priorities have shifted.
That's the big problem here I see, right? A lot of gold laners have been prioritized, getting them hyper carries towards the end, especially for S2G, like we mentioned earlier. But, man, later on, I wonder how it's going to be.
Yeah, again, so let's talk about the patch, Mirko, because I feel like for both of us, we have a rough, like, we agree that it's more on team fights now rather than playing the macro lore dance. It's like, not saying the lore dance is 100% dead, but it's definitely very, very risky, where even if you get the lord, you run the risk of being completely wiped out. But now we got to talk about the lineup coming in from Keep Best Gaming, CU, Saksa, LMU, Wawawa, as well as Tracy.
All right, so it is CU and LMU, the two faces we know based on the M5 wildcard, they were able to play there as well. But unfortunately, they weren't able to get a win in their first ever World Championship. And I think that's why the pressure now is a bit bigger. Expectations, there's going to be a lot more of that for KVG. First year for China, everybody's looking at them as a new region. They're like, all right, first year, they're not really going to be a threat. Most people counted them out instantly. And yeah, with their performances, that's what it looked like. But now, it's time for them to shine.
Yeah, but again, the first match going up against SDG is going to be very difficult for them, because they got to increase the tempo somehow. Either increase the tempo or slow it down. Because going up against S2G, where going up against Sigibum has the potential to carry the entire team, you got options. Either you want to shut him down early or shut down the mid trio, but we got to introduce the team. It's Lunar, Kazue, Begin, Sigibum, as well as Karo.
And this is what's interesting about S2G, because we were talking about how they rely heavily on these, hyper carries. They want to get Sigibum from the mid game to the late game, so early game is more of trading, mirroring.
Yeah.
But as we all know, with the current patch, you do get a lot of value snowballing from the start of the game. So will Sigibum get his hands on a snowballing hero like a Roger, like a Carrot in the gold lane, or will we see Kazoo take control of the game in the jungle with the assassins that we have seen before? Not so much, but we have seen it.
Yeah, because again, Sky Piercer has been adjusted, but I personally believe that Sky Piercer is still a very strong item. The question is, do the teams want to put it on the gold laner or the jungler? Because again, if your jungler is a damage dealer, say a Link, say a Julian, say a Hayabusa, then might as well go for a Sky Piercer and just have your marksman to be the one handling the objectives. But if your marksman is going to be the one to carry the entire game, might as well get a tanky jungler. But we got to talk about a few things here. Zucian is a new hero, but will not be draftable in MSC 2024. So if you guys are wondering why neither teams are picking it up, it's not legal just yet. Sky Piercer as well. It has been lowered from 6% now to 4%, but after getting 8 kills, the maximum stacks is still the same of 12%. So I feel like the lethality is still good. It's just that the early game has been nerfed a bit, Mirko.
Yeah, so you do get the snowball still. It's still an amazing item if you go for an assassin early game and you want to look for that mid-game power spike, but it is a bit tougher to get that snowball because usually 6%, it may look insignificant, right? It's a 2% nerf, but it's still quite massive, especially for a lot of the assassins who've been able to really abuse that. I call it the SPAs, the Sky Pierce abusers, bro. The spies.
Warcry is good as well.
Oh,
Warcry.
unlike Temporal Rain.
Okay, look, I feel like Temporal Rain has its place, but based on our experience, Warcry is amazing in the side lanes, like the gold lane, the EXP lane. It makes it so that you guys actually win the lane, and some heroes actually proc it very, very easily. By the way, you guys see on screen, Beacon of Spirits, Zucian is going to be available on the 20th of June, so make sure you guys grab it. It's just not going to be available for MSC, but other next tournaments, it's going to be there. It's going to be legal. Going back, Warcry, amazing.
Yeah, Warcry is amazing. I think we've been able to see a lot of different heroes play utilizing the Warcry, right? Even in lane. If you're a lane bully, I think it actually helps. Roger, Yuzong. I mean, even in the jungle, technically, for the Lings, you know, these assassins, maybe not the burst type of assassins, but heroes like the Ling definitely get a lot of value with it. As long as you want to go for the longer team fights, it's kind of like a mini and a different version from War Axe, you know?
In case you guys don't know, Warcry, after getting 3 stacks for 6 seconds, your entire damage, everything else, is going to be enhanced by 8%. And when I mean everything, it's like Yuzong, the shot residue, the one that you're pulling from the enemy, even that gets increased by 8%.
So exactly, right? Now that we have the 8% increase in damage, I've seen a lot of people try to combo it together with Focusing Mark. So you put the Focusing Mark on the person, you already get the additional percent of damage, plus the 8% again, and it creates, especially for Assassins, a great way to pick off your opponents.
This is going to be a best of 1, so we're going to give more time for the teams to draft. So we're going for a short break, but after this, it's going to be straight into the draft. The drafting phase where KBG is going to be first pick, S2G will be second pick. It looks like KBG, very interesting here. They banned the chip, which is fine. We've seen that before, but they're banning out the Freya as well. And S2G, they ban out the Harib as well as Louis. This Freya ban is very interesting.
I mean, we have been seeing a whole lot of Freya, especially in my rank games, right? Freya is an insta-ban in the first
In Malaysia, we say Orang Gila.
Orang Gila or Meta Chiki, right? We've been hearing a lot of the Meta Chikis, but if you guys don't know, Chiki's like a, so it's like a cheesy, it's a kind of cheesy draft.
You catch a kill,
You catch a kill. And for the Freya, it's really good in the gold lane now, especially with the changes in the items, the fact that you can go for different ways as well to play it with different emblem sets, but they will go for the Chimp and the Mathilda. I have a question though. Lo Yi, Chimp, we've been seeing kind of a decrease in popularity from these two heroes, especially the Lo Yi with the Diversion nerf, but we're still seeing it here with the Roger still being the first pick prio. I think, by the way, whenever Roger's up for grabs, that is going to be first pick.
I feel like Lo Yi is still respect because even though the Diversion has been nerfed, but the fact that you have this surprise element where you can catch your opponents off guard and then you win a team fight. And as we talked about, team fights are crucial right now, right? So even though the difference is 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute, but it causes a lot of problems for the enemy where they just don't know where the engage is coming from. And now we got to go back into the draft where KBG picking up the Roger. Incredible flexibility, can go in jungle, can go in the gold lane, and prime hero for a Sky Piercer, right? So it's a good spa user.
Yeah.
Now S2G picking up the Charizla as well as the Fireman. I feel like the Charizla is a little bit early because there are heroes that can handle the Charizla very well, but the Fireman is amazing pick, especially going up against SPAs, the Sky Piercer abusers.
Yeah, you get the additional health bar, and I think the Faramis has been super prio. But now that we're talking a little bit about the jungle having, you know, a lot of power now on these assassins, on the snowball picks, we still get to see the Fredrin. So at least for KBG, they don't want to rely on the assassins or the damage dealers in the jungle, unless they somehow try to flex this Fredrin into the XP, which I hate, by the way.
I know you hate it.
Don't ever do that, all right? Don't ever go for Fredrin XP.
I'll do it just because you don't like it.
Okay. You know what? I also don't like. Well, actually, I do like the Charizla. I wanted to go, you know, in the opposite way. Because the Charizla. Okay, so here there's a big positive and a big negative to the Charizla pick, I would say, in this meta at least, right? Because with the jungle getting a lot more diversity, we're seeing a lot more crazy picks. The XP has suffered. Now we're only seeing Charizla, Yuzong for the most part. Those are the matchups that we see. But for everywhere else, it does seem like it is still a lot of there's still a lot of diversity. For Sigibum, by the way, it's still the Moskov. We saw a little bit of the nerfs coming into the Moskov, and it's still a mid to late game hero. You do need a lot of resources to get going. And as we all know, this early game centric playstyle, this early to mid snowball is super prio.
We gotta talk about KBG has been training 13 to 14 hours a day on the international servers 13? To make sure that they get enough practice going up against all these teams. Now, I got to talk about the first 3 picks for both teams. KBG, they like to play this mid trio, so that kind of makes me feel like this Edom is going to be mid. So they have actually quite good crowd control here coming in from the Fredrin as well as the Edom. The Edom, once the Primal Wrath is activated, is going to have more damage, although I feel like LMU should pick up something that has damage. But going up against Paramis, before this, traditionally, we see a pickup like Eve to go up against this Paramis pick. But again, don't know whether LMU will pick up the Eve or he will go for something a little bit more damage, something like the Farsa or... Okay, the Valentina has been banned. The Valentina is the perfect pick. But yeah, has been banned out, which, by the way, Arla and Valentina has been banned by S2G. Oh. And then KBG banning out the Akai as well as the Minotaur.
Yeah, good Minotaur ban. I'm not too sure about the Akai, though. Technically for S2G, they have been utilizing that, but knowing the changes in the jungle, the Akai has really fallen off hard, and I think it has to do with that clear. The clear speed just isn't as good, and you can't really go for these trades or, you know, the Lord dances either with the Akai. It's more of just a pure disengage tool for S2G that I don't know if they're even going to be able to utilize now. Minotaur ban as well. I think that's just really good respect coming in towards Karo. Actually, towards Karo, because the way that he's been able to utilize the Minotaur is purely with the disengage style. It's Karo on the Cho, though, so a different style already, not the reactive protect Sigibum kind of style.
I mean, like, here's the thing. We talk about tempo. We talk changes, where personally for me, I actually favor lineups that have more damage. The changes on the Cho, now that his passive lowers or shreds your armor, actually makes the Cho a lot stronger when it comes to the early game, when it comes to the damage. So if they pick up, say, an Assassin, that's going to be a pretty good combination. And looks like the Eve will be picked up by LMU, where the Eve has been buffed, having more damage and can deal with the Moskov quite well, at least early to mid. And now KBG locks it up with the X-Borg to deal with the Charizla.
Speaking of damage output, man, KBG, they have 4 people who can deal damage. We're talking about the Fredrin here.
I argue 5.
Yeah, technically 5 with the Fredrin. But, you know, oh, by the way, Fredrin, interestingly enough, I have seen him go for Temporal Rain.
I've seen it as well. I don't know how to feel about it, though.
Do you know how it procs?
Okay, how does it proc?
So it procs, you would expect with the Appraiser's Wrath, but it doesn't.
Oh,
for the Fredrin, it's with the taunt, because you learn your ult together with your taunt when you get level 4. So you use the taunt, you get the Temporal Rain instantly.
So all the nerfs on the ult, now it's just like, you know what, it's not a nerf anymore.
Technically, it gets cancelled out by the Temporal Rain, but we do see a normal pick, at least in this meta, with the Nolan. And by the way, Nolan, I would say at this point, is kind of a counter to the Fredrin. Not in the normal way of the skirmishes, because skirmishes you can still catch Nolan, but in terms of farm.
Look at this, look at this. Imagine a Cho goes inside the jungle, just prevent the Fredrin from moving around the map a lot, and then Nolan just takes all of his farm, right? maybe the Nolan can skip the first turtle, but by the second turtle, he will have a 2 or 3 level advantage, and then after that, it's just Snowball City, right? In this game, S2G has a way that they can be aggressive, or they can just play the macro game, slowing down Frederick enough, and then give Nolan such a big lead that all of their team fights is going to be in their favor.
Well, we are going to be taking a look at the draft again earlier there.
Yeah, and now we're jumping into the first game of the wild card stage. It's going to be KBG going up against S2G.
An interesting skirmish already at the start of the game. I'm definitely going to be putting my eyes onto the emblems first here. And this gives the war cry, by the way, for Sigibum. And for the other side, LMU Impure Rage. We've been seeing a whole lot more Impure Rage nowadays, by the way. And it does seem like it's kind of a swap here. So it's actually Saksa on the Nolan. What are your thoughts on this? You've seen Saksa before, back when he was in SMG.
So I feel like Saksa is using the tankier junglers just because it's the meta, right? You kind of have to adapt to it. But Saksa is still pretty good on those assassins. And we look here, Tracy is trying to slow down S2G and try to actually make it so that Saksa is able to farm up much faster going up against Frederick. And now, Karo is low, and LMU goes in. He wants Karo.
No, flickers forward. Saksa's still going to be able to steal away that green camp, and it'll be a little bit of an early invade for KBG, getting them in the lead and utilizing that clear speed of the Nolan. Even in the bottom lane, Wawa actually winning out against Sigibum here, and that's not really a good look for the Roger. This is a winning matchup for the Roger, and it does seem like for KBG, they want to continue with this pace. Already invading again, trying to go for the steal, and I think he did get it. It's a two-man Jeet Kune Do, and with that range, the additional speed, Saksa jumps into the back line, doesn't have the fracture, but will be able to chase Begin straight up first blood in the enemy jungle.
And now this is where Keep Best Gaming are gonna start the snowball. Sigibum, I feel like he's having a hard time trying to proc the war cry. Like, he has full proc there, but he's not going for the trade.
Okay, putting the calls back, and KBG continue again as 2 kills on the board up against the Group A favorites.
America, we talked about it. The more we say about one team, the opposite will happen. And we're seeing a showcase here. Keep Best Gaming having 2 kills over S2G, and now they have Prio on the turtle. Looks like they're going to get it for free. So now in terms of the goal lead, they're going to snowball a lot. And I got to talk about the Impure Rage on this Paramis. It's amazing for a lineup of S2G because now it deals on max HP. So the more HP that you have, the more damage the LMU will deal. So going up against a draft with an Edith, with a Fredrin, as well as an X-Born, his damage might even be higher than Wawa.
Certainly, man, but you can already see that Tracy is being an absolute menace. Karo still hasn't hit level 4.
Oh my goodness.
In the second minute of the game here is already first hurdle done, and I really wonder why he hasn't been able to hit level 4 yet. Kazoo is doing a big job. Tracy goes over to Jeet Kune Do, gets canceled down with the onward there. Not able to get the Way of the Dragon fully on Karo, but Saksa wants to go in, has a fracture. Karo flickers out to safety, and KBG will be able to be comfortably in the lead in the first 2 minutes. Kazoo with a little bit of a steal there.
You know what's uncomfortable here is that seeing a tank jungler getting bullied inside of his own jungle. We don't see this a lot, and that's why we usually see the tank junglers being the prio, because you want to make sure that you have a good time farming up, and even if you lose farm, it's completely fine. Sigibum, as of this point, looks like he's having trouble, but LMU already using the ult.
On the way, the Dragon straight into the fracture. Saksa to be able to pick up 1 kill. Now his Pure Destruction doesn't connect, but Kazoo's still going to be caught now as the passive keeps on going. Fraser's Wrath connects into LMU, and Kazoo's able to get out. Now Tracy going for the chase under the turret, looking for the last kill onto him, but it will just be Tracy traded in. A bit of overextension. It's just a roamer traded in for 2 members, as some of these skirmishes in lane are actually looking all good for KBG.
Yeah, looking very good, in fact, for KBG. Now, in terms of goal difference, it's 11.6 for KBG, 9.7 for S2G Esports. Now, the thing is, S2G, they still have a way to come back into this game. Let Lunar have 2 items. He has War Axe. It looks like he's skipping the boots. After this, perhaps he's going for an Immortality. After the Immortality, he can start going for the more aggressive fights. and then maybe they can do something about it, because for now, S2G is losing all the lanes, but they're rushing this turtle.
We'll try to get it now with the Fredrin. Traces goes to the Zukundo, gets out with the Shunfu as well. Now Karo has the time to wrap, but that's going to be penalty zone, locking him down with his way. The Dragon actually brings them back all the way to damage for destruction as well, and that's going to be a steal for Saksa. But getting knocked up, and now straight into the collapse of KBG. 7-1. That's a good Shadow Stampede to bring Kazoo out of the turret as KBG continue this straight into the mid lane, giving Wawa all of the hits as Tracy zones him in the back.
I like the tempo that Keep Best Gaming is playing. They're picking on the pace, making sure that they're moving around the map very, very fast, and slowing down S2G at the same time. I gotta say, this strategy is working very well because of Tracy. The fact that Tracy slows down the mid-tree of S2G, giving so much space for Saksa as well as NMU to move around. Like, he might not be the overall MVP, but for setting all of this up, Tracy's the MVP, man.
For sure, all the way from the start, setting up that steal on the green camp for Saksa, enabling him to be able to just farm and path up so well. There's 2 levels up on the Fredrin. Should just be down to 1 now as the 2 picks up the green camp again. And Sigibum is really struggling to get that snowball.
LMU now as well having the glowing wand, so the healing coming in from S2G is not really going to be there. Tracy at this point, he can go for the pickoffs because Saksa has a lot of damage, and Saksa now has the Sky Piercer. So if we think that the early game is good, it's going to be much better. Thunder Strike, Sky Piercer, that's a lot of damage.
It does seem like now the Purple Wolf is going to be invaded. Karo already down to a quarter of his HP. Wants to give it a regen back to half. As KBG continue this, poking out to the purple buff, goes for the steal, but Kazoo will be able to time that red tree a bit better than Saksa to recover. But it's still a 5,000 gold lead almost for KBG as they continue to scale up. And that's what's scary here. The Moscow, he can get to that late point very, very soon.
Here's the thing. I kind of feel like S2G, they need to move as a team very, very fast. If they can get a kill onto Saksa, Saksa is 5-0-2, so he has the shutdown goal. If you're able to shut down Saksa, your entire team, this goal difference of 5,000 can be lowered to 2,000, or, you know, worst case scenario, 3,000. And at that point, there's still a big fighting chance. So for this turtle, I feel like for S2G, instead of focusing on the turtle, try to get Saksa. If you get the shutdown goal, it's big. Keep S Gaming can get the turtle, doesn't matter. Kill Saksa. That's objective number 1.
Okay, but in the bottom lane we can definitely see already, wow, dealing a whole lot of damage for Aga Armor taken now, forcing the last Insanity before the team fight even starts, and Tracy finds a way to drag and brings Begin back to the team. See you doing a good job in zoning them. KBG, Spirit Destruction up top.
It hits,
and he goes for it. Now with the Spirit of Misery as well, forcing the Purify out of Sigibum. Won't be able to go for the turret, and Wawa continues this chase. Has another Abyss Walker, but he decides not to overextend. A free turtle over to KBG, and Kazoo is going to be able to secure that now. Saksa puts on some damage. Karo as well in the mid lane, forced back, and that's going to be a free tier 1 to KBG.
This is not good because S2G, the way that they draft, they have the X4 to go up against the Terizla. They got the Roger first pick. 100% they wanted to win the lanes. The fact that they did not win the lanes is very tough.
Purple buff given. Begin still able to steal it away, but look at the damage just from the Ghost Burst. Oh, Karo goes for Earth Shatter now, gets knocked up. No.
Oh, even Kazoo gets cancelled.
Dash away from that onward, or rather from that Zukundo with the onward. And LMU continues this with the Stampede. That glowing wand, man, let's talk a little bit about that, right? The new changes to the glowing wand, you kind of have that NOD effect as well.
Now you got the life bane, so that the healing, the sustain coming in from S2G is going to get cut in half. The shields is going to get cut in half. And you still have the glowing wand passive where you're burning your opponents for their current HP. So even you're trying to recall, it's going to be very, very difficult. And now looking at the items here, 3 items for Saksa, a lot of on-hit damage. And looking at the Moscow, he's just a few hundred gold away from the Demon Hunter Sword. And now he's completed his Demon Hunter Sword. So in terms of power spike,
yikes.
Keep Best Gaming has hit it. So now they can do whatever they want because they are at an end game point.
Okay, Tracy walks up again, just trying to zone them away. Lunar's doing a lot of damage. By the way, Wawa, the fact that he hasn't hit the DHS before, and it kind of looked like he did already.
Oh, yeah.
Dealing so much damage. Lunar is so far behind the XP lane. Down, onward. Oh, not able to connect there. Not even able to go for the Earth Shadow. Gets pinned down to the wall by the Spear of Misery, and LMU just bursts him down with a Ghost Burster. Say goodbye to the Faraga armor. 2 Spirit Destruction. I don't think he wants to take it, though. Just wants to go for the turret in the bottom lane. That's another tier 2 with Karo dead right as the Lord is going to spawn in the game.
You know what's the difference maker here for Wawa? Is that he has the Inspire, man. Usually in tournament play, we see the Flickers, we see the Purifies. So Wawa understands that he has to go big or he's going to go home. So he goes for the Inspire. And I feel like the Inspire is the reason why he's been winning the lane. And in the team fights, even without the Demon Hunter sword, you see a lot of damage. And he's very generous at proccing the Inspire whenever a fight looks like it's going to break out. He will use it just to zone people away.
I think now, for Siggy Boom, the fact that, you know, he's down, he only has a Wind Talker and a Sky Piercer. Not even the Endless Battle just yet. Meanwhile, the scaling hero, Wawa, on that Moskov. Hold up, LMU walks up the Stampede. Tracy's doing a good job. He's getting out of these taunts, Earthshatter DCC with the Shun Fu. And you know, we've had a talk off stream, about how good the Cho is.
Yeah.
As XP or as damage dealer, but now as a roamer, it seems, is it Prio, Lapel?
I feel like it's only Prio because Cho is one of those heroes you can't make a mistake on. So if you're really, like, if you have 300 games on a Cho, yeah, Prio, definitely.
Okay, so these turrets, that splash gonna be they're gonna be able to get rid of it before the Lord even spawns in, by the way, or actually charges in. So KBG have a very, very good road. Wawa, but they go for the Spear of Misery onto Siggy Boom, forcing him back once again. They're gonna go for the siege now. That's gonna be a good Earth Shatter and an onward combo. LMU forcing hop into Netherrealm. But look at the base turret, already taking very low in the back. Oh, it's a fracture for Saksa as the penalty zone knocks them down. A Spear of Destruction now pinning them down into the wall, but it's gonna be a good taunt there, and it will take Wawa down. Kazoo, that damage just chunking him down, but he's still able to survive. Once you're one up top, taken down, they're gonna go for mid lane as well. But now Siggy Boom wants to go for the chase, has the Lycan Pounds, gets kicked back by Tracy. An amazing disengage as they pick a base turret off. Roar's Lord, Blast Insanity in the 1v3 with the Farago Armor. Tracy's still able to get Kundo out of it. That additional range.
Dude, the extra 20% range, it helped out a lot. Tracy was able to survive with the Jikundo, and I gotta say for Keep Best Gaming, good news, bad news. Bad news, yes, Wawa got taken down. The good news is that he did not have any kills. So even though he was taken down, he didn't transfer any shutdown gold. So now we see the goal difference. There is not much goal difference that S2G was able to get back because now it's still around 8,000, 9,000 gold lead for Keep Best Gaming. So it's still them controlling the entire map. So if Wawa had 3 kills, perhaps they would have swung for S2G. But the fact that he had 0 kills, not much has changed.
Interesting. Trying to walk up here, Kazoo, doing a good job surrounding them and holding them off, but it's 10-3, a 9,000 gold lead in the first 11 minutes of the game as they just play it so disciplinedly at this point. They're just freezing up the waves.
Looking at the items, Saksa is already full build. He even has a Rose Gold meter to make sure that he doesn't make a mistake. Perhaps he's going to sell it off for an immortality in case things go wrong. Looking at the items for Roger, he has 3 items as well. He has the Sky Piercer. The only thing is that he does not have any stacks, and this is where we see the Sky Piercer's nerf actually being a big factor from 6% now to 4%. It's going to be more difficult for S2G to drop down Keep Best Gaming for the lethality to proc. So, yeah, Siggy Boom with 0 kills is going to be rough.
And they can't even walk up, not here. KBG pick up a free Enhanced Lord in the 12th minute of the game. 0 turtles, 0 lords, 0 turrets, no objectives whatsoever for S2G.
Can we just say, Mirko, your vlog asking every single caster what their opinion is, it's gonna do well. I feel like it's gonna do well.
It's gonna be
It's gonna be very commentated.
I think so, you know, like, especially now considering Siggy Boom in the 12th minute has finally gone the Melphic Roar. It looks tough for them to pull off this defense. They do have a Yeve, by the way, so let's see how they go at it on the siege. Tracy walking up again onto Kazoo, who's still able to go and disengage for a bit, but that's 2 tier 3s taken out, 2 base turrets taken out. KBG gonna go again. Tracy, oh my god! That's the way the Dragon, bringing it back with the flicker. Spirit Destruction into the back line as well as he decides to go for it. No, just go straight for the base. And KBG win out game number 1.
KBG, man, coming up. Like I said, from the previous wildcard, they're like, you know what, we want to be #1 in the group. This time, they're going to prove it. But we got to talk about S2G as well, where I kind of feel like HIRO was not able to start things up. And I kind of feel like that's one of the big factors where they didn't shine. Because as an Edith, we will see like flicker, earth shatters, and everything. But none of that happened. Keep Best Gaming, they started the game well by the Cho, slowing down the rotations coming in from S2G, and then having your side lanes win up their laning phase, the gold lane as well as the EXP. That just accelerates your lead. Tracy in this game, is absolutely amazing. This is the kind of draft that we want to see for a best-of-1 game where just use your best heroes and then just show what you got.
It's phenomenal, man. We were talking about how the improvements could be seen already all the way from the start. We didn't expect them to be able to dominate one of the Group A favorites, the Group A favorites, S2G. Most casters, analysts, and even the viewers back online have been talking about how S2G are just going to dominate this group. And hey, first game and we already have a different result to that.
Dude, let me just say, Homeboy is going to be number 4 in Group B.
Yeah, you better change those predictions now, man, because whatever we say to be number 1, it just seems like there's a bit of caster curse going on. Not even just the Mir curse and the LaFell curse.
I already told you. Like, if only this was already doing live, you guys, I so want to prove them what we've been talking about behind the scenes. We've been hyping up the teams.
Don't worry. I mean, it'll be uploaded really, really soon, right? But with that game, LaFell, what can we take in for S2G and for KBG?
Expect the unexpected.
Expect the unexpected.
Expect the unexpected.
Got us a nice Trex.
Did you expect that?
Somehow I kind of did.
You know what?
But the viewers didn't, right?
You guys did it.
Because I'm already ready to expect the unexpected. They, only now they get the chance
I was ready to see KBG won, and they did. Now they're my boys.
That's a bit of a switch up, ladies and gentlemen. And that he did not say that before.
I said that 100%.
But it did feel
There
like
is no proof that I did not say that.
There will be proof, just not right now. You guys can't find it right now, but don't worry. Later on, you'll be able to find it. Anyways, LaFell, S2G, KBG. It also feels like KBG were playing in S2G's way that we were talking about, right? They want to go for a hyper carry hero that scales off in the mid to late for Sigiboom. But it turns out it wasn't him. It was Wawa, actually, who did that exactly. And he was able to snowball on the late game pick. So that mid to late game pick with the Moskov being nerfed, it didn't even feel like the Moskov was nerfed. It looked like he was buffed.
Here's the thing. The Nolan last pick, though.
The Nolan last pick.
That Nolan last pick, though. Like, I feel like after the Nolan pick, they were like, great. Fantastic. We got to deal with the Joe and the Nolan.
The double carry setup. And honestly, the Faramis counts as a carry as well, in this game especially.
With the pure rage, it doesn't... The more HP you have, well, boo-hoo for you, more damage.
The Ghost Bursters with the Glowing Wand as well, the effect just stacking up over that DOT while you burst out. And the fact that for S2G, they kept on clumping up. We were talking about how S2G want to clump up, want to protect that one member, Sigiboom usually in these skirmishes, but against the Faramis, we were talking about how the Yve even could be a good pick to counter the Faramis. It looked like the Faramis was a counter to the Yve, how they were playing it.
You know what, we got to talk about the upcoming match as well. It's going to be E7 going up against Zen, where I'm going to do both teams a favor.
All right.
Not going to say who's going to win. Are you going to do the same?
I'm going to do the same. You know, after game number 1, I think everybody...
Before this, I would say E7. Before this.
Before this.
I would say E7.
So does that mean E7 will have a similar fate to S2G?
No, because I decline to say who's going to win. I also decline to say who's going to lose. So you guys don't know. Expect the unexpected. Shout out to Nice.
Shout out to Nice and Trex. They were talking about that, and we were able to get that exactly in just game number 1.
Dude, that was...
Dude, our, scale of power.
Dude, you know what?
Of strength.
Power skills doesn't mean anything. Right now on your screen, you're looking at Entity 7, where, again, we're jumping instantly to the next best of 1. And the 7 going up against Zen. This is going to be, again, brutal, simple. Brutal and legendary. Where we have best of 1s going straight. The teams got to be fast on their feet, man.
Oh, they certainly do. I think game number 1 was proof that right now it's all about the early to mid game. It's not about how you scale in mid to late. Even with a hero like the Moskov, it's not how we're used to seeing the Moskov, right? For the Moskov, usually you expect the Moskov to actually go and clear up, go and farm, wait till those 3-item power spikes. But because you have a Spear of Destruction, it technically already makes you an early to mid hero, depending on how your team plays it. Because in the first turtle, if you do already have level 4, you can participate with your global ultimate with that Spear of Destruction. And that's what we saw. As long as he's participating in these skirmishes, he'll be able to get some gold, extra gold, with the kills and assists that he picks up.
And now we're looking at Xeno Zenith as well, where, again, looking at the play of our previous match, again, I got to talk about the new changes. It is going to be that tempo. And we got a lot of familiar names on Xeno Zenith, Goodnart as well as Zippy. And, okay, bear with me. Hey, 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 hey,
Hey. I love Hehe. You know,
I
he's been in the
love
game
Hehe.
for so long. I think for Hehe, Joga, and Nart, they've been in the scene for so
Yeah.
long, man. I think they represented Vietnam already in 2021 MSC. That was the first time I saw them. They were representing CyberX at the time. And the fact that they are still here and these 3 members are still also representing their country in a lot of different international tournaments is really cool. But they have reinforcements this time around. They got Zipix and Shocker as well. And these 2 imports have really given them, this team, a whole lot of a new level.
I feel like imports in general always opens up more doors, right? Where you have one playstyle, you have one identity, but then bringing a different flavor, a different kind of salt, right? It's a different flavoring that really enhances the palate. Oh, hungry. But either ways, I feel like looking at the first game, the players are adapting very well to the patch. Oh, you nerfed the Moskov. We'll just put in a Inspire. It's going to be more dangerous, mind you. It's going to be more dangerous. But again, if you see the opposing side and you feel not threatened at all, it's like, you have an Edith, sure, but you're not going to catch me. Inspire all the way.
If you can space out properly in these skirmishes, and especially if you already have an early to mid-game composition for the rest of the team, it just creates such a safe environment for the Moskov, and you can just go for the Inspire instead of the Purify and the Flicker that we are kind of used to now, or actually used to before. Not now, because maybe the Inspire is just the better option to go for now.
You want to hear an interesting fact?
Sure.
Okay, let's go for this. Looks like Shaka is the leader and Big Bro, even though he's the shortest in the team. He's also the motivator of the team. He's the one that tells the team, like, let's go!
I actually met him in the hotel,
Oh,
right?
you
So
did?
yeah, for Shocker and Zipix. I met them, and yeah, they're really cool. For Shocker, it definitely seems like him and Zipix, they get that synergy going, man. And if they both get that synergy, both get that snowball as well from the start, it'll be very, very scary for Entity 7. Because even based on the track record for Entity 7, that's what they've been able to play for. The early to mid, going for these team fights, forcing these skirmishes out of their teams. But this time, they want to do it.
Let's talk about Entity 7. We've got Marquejo, Hide on Bush, Chan, Fury, as well as Erwin, where, fun fact for Erwin, back then he had to beg permission from parents to travel to tournaments. But now, his parents acknowledge his passion. Look at the hard work that Erwin had to do as the roamer of the team for the parents to be like, you know what? Chase after your dreams. Chase your passion.
Yeah, I think I remember, you know, for Erwin especially, the fact that he was able to perform at such a high level. I think it was M4, you know, back then. With a different banner, obviously. It was Essaonce, if you remember, Lafel. And Erwin,
Oh, yeah.
he loves to go for these initiator picks, man. He's an initiator. That's his style. He wants to go for the Kufras, the Groks even, the big moment heroes.
Here's the thing.
A lot of those heroes,
I
yeah.
heard that he can use the Arlet very well as well. So the Arlet, like, again, we are more towards more damage. So if he brings that up, it's going to be pretty insane. But now we got to talk about Xeno Zenith. Hey, Joe, Shocker, Zipex, as well as Gennard is going to be the team. And again, a lot of familiar faces here where I still remember Zipex being a very good hyper carry for the team. And Gennard as well, I would say he's a pretty good initiator.
He really is. I feel like for him being an initiator, it's amazing, but you guys are probably asking the same question that, you know, I was asking at the start. For Zippy and Shocker, the fact that, you know, these 2 members speak English, there's a Burmese import in Zippy, and it's a Filipino import in Shocker. How do they communicate with the team? And it seems Joe is the one that actually becomes the middleman here. He'll be the one to translate and to just go through the strategies with the coach as well.
That was the first question for you for today?
That was the first question I had, well, when I met them, you know, at the lobby.
Because my first question for today was like, where's the toilet?
I mean,
We had different...
I also asked that question today, technically, but that wasn't my first question. My first
Right.
question was,
Where's the coffee?
when will S2G qualify? You know, because I was expecting them to just stomp everyone.
You know what? Rockstar.
It's time for Rockstar.
Time for Rockstar. So going for this game, I want more damage. Is that what you want to?
I don't know, man, because like game number
Fighter
one,
Roams. Fighter Roams.
S2G
Yeah.
had more damage. They had more damage in their kit. You were talking about how they
No.
have 5 members that can
No,
deal damage.
KBG had more damage. 'Cause they got the Cho, they got the Nolan.
Do you really consider Cho a damage healer though? Like over
I
the
do.
Edith?
I
feel like the Edith still does more damage as a roamer.
No,
Maybe it was XP, it would be different.
No. You listen to me, boy.
Okay.
All right?
I'm gonna
His
listen to you.
passive now doesn't need level 4. Edith needs level 4.
That's true. All right, so level 1 to 3, you deal a little bit more damage, right? But then once you get the Primal Wrath, it should be a lot easier for you to deal damage, especially around the neutral objectives.
Damage is subjective.
Damage is subjective. Subjective.
Maybe emotional damage hurts you more.
So you're telling me that the invades that they were able to do onto the enemy team, onto SGG, that was emotional damage?
Okay, let's test this.
Okay.
Are you more hurt that if I invade your jungle, or if I say you're ugly?
Invade jungle.
Okay, there we go.
There we go, yeah.
Now we know which hurts you more. Sky Piercer nerf, still a game changer. Personally for me, if you have a better early game, Sky Piercer is a big changer. If you're putting the, let's for example, you put a Sky Piercer on in a time. Not gonna work.
Yeah.
Not gonna work.
I've seen so many players, by the way, just build Sky Piercer. When it was released, everybody was just going Sky Piercer.
5-man Sky Piercer.
Even on Claude, on the time. It's like, bro, when you deal DPS, right, when you take a while to deal damage as well, maybe that's not the best item. Especially now with the 2% nerfs. Listen, if you're burst, if you do good in the early game, you get the Sky Piercer.
If you're Brody, yes.
Yes.
Natan, Claude,
no.
Maybe if you're like I don't know, like you have a very good early game.
Yeah,
and then
I guess.
Fourth or fifth item, like after your first 3,
I guess.
It's going to be good. By the way, MSC 2024 events preview is now. Grab the MSC Pass until July 16 and enjoy a 20% discount. This unlocks all new Valentina Dark Nexus skin and MSC coins you can use to get returning MSC. Like, if you guys missed any of the previous skins, you guys can get it now. And we Mobile Legends fans, we got to get all the skins.
Yeah, especially you guys back at home, all right? I just really want to tell you guys, you know, especially the ones who've been utilizing the MSC guest coins to go and vote. How are you feeling now after game
Don't ask us. Cautionary tale, don't ask us who's going to win. Actually, no.
Ask us. Exactly. I was about to say.
Go for the opposite one.
Go and ask us and go for the opposite one, right? Because game 1, S2G versus KBG, what was our prediction?
S2G.
S2G. Game 2, what's our prediction now to help them with the MSC guest coins?
Entity 7.
Entity 7. So,
if we have a 100% lose prediction,
then we got a lot of MSC guest coins. The MSC guest coins stacking up together with Mirko and LaFell will continue, but we'll see how Entity 7 go up against Xeno Zenith first, though. Because for Xeno Zenith and Entity 7, though Entity 7, they've had more experience technically for... I don't even know if I want to say that. No. Technically, Xeno Zenith have more experience. They've been in international events for the longest time. And for Entity 7, some of the members are new.
At this point, don't say anything.
Yeah.
We're going for a break for the draft.
New adventures bring new challenges. Even as the heat rises, dandruff and grease won't stand a chance. With new Clear Men, powered by triple formula technology. To eliminate dandruff, itch, and grease, gives you 8 hours of freshness and 100% dandruff-free hair. New Clear Men, 0% dandruff, 100% confidence.
And we're back. And again, it's going to be the draft between E7 going up against Zen, where, again, quick reminder, this is going to be a best of ones. They gotta give their best draft and their very best gameplay. You guys can see on screen now. Both teams are getting ready. And you're back here with me, LaFell, as well as Mirko.
They got one shot, man. And we did see that in game number 1, best of 1 as well. KBG were able to take the dub very, very dominantly. It was a convincing win. What was it, like 12 minutes? I think it was 13 minutes after taking that enhanced sword as well. But so far, game 1, 13 minutes. Game 2, will it also be a one-sided affair? Will one team have so much more dominance in the early game, so much more farm? Also, by the way, can we agree now that technically for the Assassins, they're just way better than the utility junglers that we're known
I feel like
for?
Skypiercer is meant for them, and we got to talk about the price. It's 1,500. Do you know the price of the boots? It's 700.
700. What boots?
That's the average price of a boot. Like it depends.
Yeah, it depends.
Warrior boots is I believe like 720, and then the tough boots like 740 or something like that. But
It's 700-ish, yeah.
average is 700.
Okay.
You could actually buy 2 boots, or you could just buy straight up Skypiercer. It gives you adaptive damage and it gives you movement speed. So I feel like just to make it optimum, build the Skypiercer first item, have a very aggressive roamer that can set things up, give the kills over to your jungler, and then you can snowball. So to answer your question, we're going to see a quick game if an assassin is involved. If both are using utility junglers, then I feel like it's going to be a bit of a longer game, at most like 70 minutes.
Okay, so at least here, when we take a look at Xeno Zenith, they are a team that actually are known to play it a little bit fast. But it's a bit different, though. When we're talking about how fast Xeno Zenith play, it's been fast, but through the gold lane, through the mid lane, rather than the jungle.
Got it.
I'm really wondering now if they still want to go for those assassin junglers, or do they stick with the plan that made them qualify to the wild card? Do they go for the utility junglers and bank on maybe a Harith or Roger? It didn't work too well in game number 1 for Sigiboom, but the Roger also wasn't bullying the Moscow.
Exactly. So I feel like if they get the Roger, play around the Roger, because the Roger is still a very strong threat. Even though it has been nerfed in terms of the damage to between his human form as well as his Lycan form, it has been nerfed. But again, if you get the Roger, play around your gold lane. Or they could just switch things up. Like, again, they had like a few weeks to practice. Maybe they just realized that if they want to go aggressive, maybe not a Roger, maybe something like a Brody, right? Maybe someone with a little bit more burst damage, so that the jungler just set things up, and then it'll be all good. Because I feel like we personally have not seen the full potential of every single draft for now. Like, I still remember Benny QD showed up on his Beatrix. Dude, it's amazing. Benny QD on that Beatrix, mind blowing.
Skypiercer as well?
No.
No Skypiercer.
Skypiercer, yes, but 4th item. So
Fourth
BOD
item.
first, Malefic Roar, Hunstrike.
So it's all about understanding the situation, right?
Yeah.
If you get that snowball going from the start, even on heroes like the Beatrix, you want to go for the Skypiercer, but a bit late. Not the first item, unless technically you want to try to risk it all the way from the start, get that snowball. If you have a great matchup, maybe you could do that. But I agree, even for the Brody, you know, right as the Skypiercer dropped, I instantly went into the Brody. I played the Brody, spammed it, and it was great. But in pro play, the fact is, I think the big problem for a lot of these pro players and why they're not going for the Beatrix as much, the Brody as well, is because at this point in the gold lane, you want to go for marksmen who can actually flex their battle spells. If you're forced onto one, like the Beatrix Brody on just Flicker, it's kind of hard to go for that lane because there's going to be a lot of ganks into that lane.
Yeah, so I really feel like you should pre-plan your draft to know what kind of gold laner that you're going to pick up, and then you decide your jungler. For example, we had a rule. It's not a clear rule, but basically it's like, if you're going to play a Claude, don't pick up the assassin jungler. Like, for example, you don't pick a Ling and a Claude at the same time.
Yeah.
Because the Ling needs farm, the Claude needs farm. Is going to be very confusing for your roamer as well as your mid laner to figure out, do we funnel the jungler or we funnel the gold laner, right? So you usually be like, okay, one scaling jungler, one marksman that can save himself, right?
But technically, that's what we saw for KBG. They went for the Moskov, needs farm, needs resources, Nolan as well. So I think it also really depends on how you want to go.
I personally say Nolan doesn't need a farm.
Nolan doesn't need the farm?
He doesn't.
Just want to go for skirmishes?
No, I feel like what Nolan has to do is to out-farm you. Meaning, like, he goes for the farm, but not, like, hyper-farming. You know,
Not in the lane, just in the jungle.
He
and
just needs level 6 when you're level 4. That's Nolan's win condition. That's personally for me, because at that point, his damage is going to be scaling like crazy, and then getting the Sky Piercer. After Sky Piercer, all the other items are just trying to burst you down even faster than before. So personally for me, like, we can have our differences, but I feel like Nolan is about outfarming your opponents in the early game in the first turtle and the second turtle, and after that, do whatever you want.
Yeah, I completely agree about the Nolan win condition being that you have to get a lead in the start, right? I think for most assassins, you want to get that lead as well. But honestly, it feels like in that game, especially in the early phase, you know, the Nolan, I agree. He goes for the invade rather than going for his own farm a lot of times, and he's able to get the space because of that roamer. So you have to go for a weak side in the gold lane a bit more. But sometimes, right, especially in the early game, you want to get, not the Claude, I think, you know, because the Moskov, he can get gold in different ways. We also mentioned that with the Spear of Destruction, not just purely on farm, you can go and participate in the team fights. So the Claude, the Natan, those hyper carries that are relatively more, you know, stationed in that one lane, yeah, it does feel like it's a bit tough. It's a good weak side still.
Definitely.
You can still do damage, and if you do get to the late game, maybe you can be the secondary carry. But it's all about the trio mid, I feel now, yeah?
Yeah, I feel like the roamer as well, because here's the thing. Wishing Lantern is a good item going up against tank junglers, but I haven't seen a lot of pro teams using the Wishing Lantern. Like, we hear from players saying, oh, it's a good item. We haven't seen it being built just yet, right?
Yeah.
Right? Now, the thing is, I kind of feel like with how things have been shaping up, I feel like roamers with more damage or able to start a fight easier is going to be the prio.
Yeah,
so something like the Cho has more damage, Grok has more damage, Arlet has more damage, Edith at level 4 has a lot of damage. I feel like these are going to be prio. If you're good on picks like, say, a Kufra, where you can set things up, then perhaps that could be prio as well.
Yeah, I think it definitely favors the proactive roamers over the reactive roamers. Like, even the Minotaurs now, you can still make it work, don't get me wrong, but it's just a bit harder to make work.
It's almost like they have to start first and then you do the second.
Exactly, especially because usually when we see the Minotaurs, all this, you know, for the reactive roamers, they're really good because you're already on the neutral objective. You want to play with the Lord Dance and you want to force them to jump into you. Not the Lord Dance, it's a bit harder to do. We haven't really seen that, by the way. We've seen 2 uncontested Lords in game number 1. I would really love to see the damage that the Lord can produce, because from the games that I've casted with the patch, these utility junglers, these tanky boys, these beefy boys are getting shredded down by even the first Lord.
Let's just say one thing, right? Let's just say one thing, that the Lord is worth it, right? The Lord is worth it. But going for the Lord has its risk, where I kind of feel like if the opposing side is still... Okay, I have a general rule. If you want the Lord, burst him as fast as you can. You have a 10-second window, because after 10 seconds, it's going to be true damage. That physical penetration is going to be 100% true damage, right? So if you have enough damage to burst the Lord in under 10 seconds, go for it. If it takes you longer, say your jungler wants to hold it, and then everyone else is going to spread out, your jungler is going to take way too much damage, and then you lose a very crucial component of your draft. So I feel like for teams, if they see a situation, the opposing side is top lane, the Lord is bottom lane, we can burst this Lord in 8 seconds, go for it. If it takes longer, just wait.
It's all about committing now, right?
Yeah,
Making a decisive decision. It's all about being decisive at this point of the game with this meta as well. If you can burst it, you go burst it. If you can't, you're going to be punished for it. And that's why we're seeing so many different utility junglers still try to go for the Lord Dance, but ultimately get shredded down to a quarter of its HP, and it actually just gives the advantage that you had over to your opponents. It doesn't even matter with the lead. Like, if you have a 2,000, 5,000 gold lead, it's, like you said, true damage after the first few seconds, and if you can't handle that, it'll be a comeback, I would say, mechanic that the enemy team could use to take the team fight.
Like, here's the thing. Say Abaxia. In the previous patch, the Abaxia alone can hold on the Lord, right? All good. But now it's like the Baxia and the healer. So I feel like that's the big change, where if you want to do the Lord Dance, you need someone to top off your jungler. To the point where, personally for me, if anyone, absolutely anyone, this might sound crazy, if anyone is supposed to hold on to the Lord, is the marksman. If the marksman has sufficient lifesteal, let the marksman do it. If your EXP has the good lifesteal, let your EXP do it. If your jungler has, say, an Angela, a Minotaur, a Rafaela that can heal the jungler, sure, let your jungler do it. But that's my personal opinion.
Yeah, it's all about the sustain, I think, right? That's a situational
The Lord Dance
thing
is
about it.
subjective.
The Lord Dance is subjective, as it is for everything, it seems, that we've been talking about today. Everything's subjective, especially the Lord Dance. But I don't know, man. I think, yeah, I mean, it really depends on the marksman having the sustain. Because if the marksman doesn't have the sustain, you're putting yourself in a very, very tough spot, in a spot where you're very vulnerable, but it seems we're already getting ready.
Yep, now we're jumping into the draft. Zenith is going to be first pick. Entity 7 is going to be the second pick. Looks like the Edith is going to be the first ban here. Understanding that it's going to be a very strong roamer / EXP laner, so they're going to take it away. The Chip has been banned. Personally, looking at like all of the games, I feel like Chip, Louis, as well as Harif is going to be a second pick kind of ban. So the first pick has a bit of an advantage here.
Okay. We're already seeing a little bit of a difference here when it comes to the bans. Zenith actually taking out the Edith and the Angela very, very early on. And this is what we're actually a bit more accustomed to, I feel, right? For the red side to be the ones to ban all these prio picks like the Chip, maybe still even the Luo Yi. Even, honestly, for me, though, the Luo Yi, I don't think it's as prio. I think it's prio like still for like lower tier games, but top tier, I feel it's very, very easy to punish the Luo Yi. Because back then, at least, with the cooldown being so short, you can actually just spam the diversion over and over again. Yeah, you can go for a lot of these creative angles, and you can also feint. You could use it to open up the map. You could get vision with it, but obviously, you can just send one member a few times. Now, you're kind of forced to think about it as a big ult. It has a big ult cooldown, which it should have, by the way. I like
it should, I agree.
But it just makes it much more readable. Once you use it and you don't get what you want with it, you get punished for it.
Okay, I see it now. Zenith, they ban out the Valentina. So they're asking Entity 7, which do you want to ban? Do you want to ban the Faramis or the Louis? Because Zenith, they're going to take either or. And I kind of feel like they want to first pick the Faramis here. Like banning out the Edith, banning out the sustain. So I feel like the Faramis might be the first pick, and if the Faramis gets banned, they might just pick up the Louis.
Definitely. With the Valentina ban, it definitely makes sense that they want to go for something like the Faramis here for their first pick. And again, it's all about getting that mid lane also a little bit ahead for Zenith. For E7, though, Hide Bush really loves to go Faramis. We've actually had a talk about this even before, I think it was M5, where we're talking about the Faramis. On paper, it should counter these assassins like the Hayabusa, maybe perhaps like the Nolan, but in execution, in practice, it's a bit different. If you're able to bait out the Netherrealm before the fight even starts, it makes the Faramis technically useless.
Yeah, so let Zenith pick up the Faramis, and then you yourself pick up like the Hayabusa, where the Hayabusa's farming speed now is about the same as the Nolan, so it's very, very fast. But it looks like, no, they're actually going to go for the Roger, but are they betting, are they like letting Entity 7 pick up the Faramis, and then they're going to counter with, say, like a Yuzong or a Lapu Lapu, or maybe they want to show that they can actually counter the Faramis with the Hayabusa?
All right, so the Roger is just that prio at this point, right? It's so flexible with the Roger. You can go in the jungle, you can go in the gold lane. I have a quick question for you. Do you like jungle Roger more or gold jungle?
I feel like with Skypiercer, I kind of prefer him in the jungle, just so that he can join more fights.
Yeah, I have to agree, man. I personally like him more in the jungle. You're more active around the map early on, and you do get going much earlier compared to the gold lane, where you're kind of forced to farm, but the Luo Yi being left open will mean that E7 will be able to take it together with the Minotaur. We were just talking about how Erwin is a, initiator, likes to go for these initiators. Technically, with the Luo Yi, does that make him an initiator with the flanks? If he does get a creative angle, he could be an initiator with this Minotaur.
Honestly, with these first two pickups here, it identifies to me that they want to go for a tankier jungler, perhaps something like a Baxia. Because, again, with a healer, you can actually do the Lord Dance. Again, it's not as good as previous patches, but it's definitely doable. And Zenith, they pick up the Ling as well as the Terizla. Without the Angela, this Ling is going to be a little bit riskier. But again, still going to be pretty good. But looks like NT7, they're going to lock down the Moscow. So we will be seeing a Roger against Moscow again.
Another Roger versus Moskov, and in lane, theoretically, it should be a win for the Roger, man. Early game, especially considering, you know, early on, we did see the Warcry. All right, another question, Lafell. Do you like the Warcry on gold lane Roger, on jungle Roger, or both?
I feel like both, because I feel like Roger has a lot of ways to actually stack up the War Axe, because even with basic attacks, he can trigger the War Axe, and then afterwards, change into the wolf form, having extra 8% more damage, and then you just do a big burst just that way.
Okay, it's going to be the Tigreal ban here coming in from E7, respecting Xeno Zenith and how they can actually lock some of these members down. So far with the Terizla, together with the Ling and the Roger, it's all about trying to dive, force them into the skirmish, and pin them down in the skirmish. For already, you need to get rid of the Masha. When you have a Roger, Masha is automatically one of the biggest threats to you, because unlike, you know, usual marksman, you can't go for the Wind of Nature. Well, you can, but, you know, the duration isn't as long, and you do get punished a lot easier by the Masha. So I think that's a very, very good ban coming out. Good Grok ban as well here. Yeah, together with the Tigs, we're talking about those picks.
After I saw the Grok ban, I'm like, you know what? That's a very good ban, because having that a pickup with the Ling, with the Roger, he can influence so much of the game, so that's a very good ban. The Barat's ban as well. Looks like Xeno Zenith, they're thinking this is going to be a tankier jungler. The Fredrin is still up. The Boxia is still up. If they do want to go for an assassin, I guess it's fine.
But what is it going to be if it's an assassin? Hayabusa?
Hayabusa.
All right, the Hayabusa.
Because Hayabusa with Sky Piercer, say he has a 3-kill advantage, even the Terizla is going to feel a lot of pain.
Yeah, and like we were talking about off-stream as well, now that the Hayabusa has gotten a few of those changes, you can now use the Shadow Kill.
Petrify all of them, so you can get a 3-man Petrify with the Ogi Shadow Kill.
That's an interesting fact, right?
You know, crazy fun facts with Lafell and Mirko.
Crazy fun facts for you guys, ladies and gentlemen, back at home. Maybe you might want to go to play, you know, some of these heroes like the Hayabusa.
Is a pioneer. He was just too early for his time.
It was too early.
It was too early.
He just had to wait for those changes on the Shadow Kill, and maybe now he would have made it to MSC, right? But okay, let's go back to the Ruby pick and the Vixana. Xeno Zenith with the Ruby and the Vixana pick. Now, I think it's all about overloading E7 with CC. Again, this is the same strategy. A lot of damage, a lot of CC to lock them down and pin them down for the Ling and the Roger to execute.
My only fear is that this Esmeralda could be a potential problem for Xeno Zenith. I'm just worried that the damage coming in from them is... Because even though Esmeralda has been nerfed, it's like a has been nerfed. It's a proactive nerf because with the Thunderbelt changes, with the new Clock of Destiny, the Esmeralda actually pops off, and now the Dire off. So again, we're looking at lineups where both teams, they're just asking the question, who has more damage?
It seems that's the name of the game, man, from game one as well. That's what we saw, and we were talking about how damage output wins you games. All right, so quick question here, E7 versus Xeno Zenith based on a draft. Who has more damage?
You know what? That's for the comments down below. You guys can let us know. These guys are experts, Mirko. Let me tell you, man. If you want to look for advice, go to the comment section. That's where you find the best advice.
Oh man, you know, this is we were agreeing a whole lot, Lafell. This is the first time I'll have to disagree. I'm sorry, man. But I've seen even my own live chat. They're not even, you know, normal sometimes. But it's okay for you guys. You can also just voice your opinion. You know, it might be wrong. It may be
being
wrong.
right and wrong is subjective.
Exactly. That's what I was saying. Expect
the unexpected.
It's as easy as that. And right now, the drafts are they expected? Are they unexpected? The Dairoth wasn't.
They are unexpected, but expect the unexpected. We're jumping into this game, and we're starting with a pause. And there we go. Expect the unexpected.
Expect the unexpected. We go into the game, you know, we got that camera and zooming in. All of the moments. Lafell shouting.
The producer.
The producer.
The producer understands. Expect the unexpected.
Exactly.
Pause. You don't see that coming.
You don't see that coming. None of you guys saw that coming,
Skibbity.
man. What?
Skibbity.
Did you just say skibbity?
See, you didn't expect that.
I really did not expect that. Not coming from you, man. You know, like, that's a...
I'm Gen Z. No, I'm not.
If Gen Z means like Z as in old, you know, the last letter in the alphabet.
Oh, wow, you're going there.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm not that old, okay? I'm only like 45.
Wait, you're 45?
Don't act surprised.
What, you have 5 years to live or what?
Oh, dude. LaFell and Mirko, ladies and gentlemen.
L&M.
We're
ML.
good friends. We're ML.
ML.
We were younger.
I was younger.
You were younger.
I was too young, you know?
Yeah.
Speaking of young, these players are also just still really, really young. The fact that,
Really?
that Nart, Joga, and Hehe, they've been representing Vietnam. They've been representing their region for so long, and they're still like really, really young. It's cool, man. It's really cool to see these players.
You're cool.
You're cool too, LaFell.
Oh, thank you.
You know
guys
what? It's
watching
actually,
at home, you're cool.
It's cool, but it's also hot here in Saudi Arabia. It's amazing. We get the mix of both. So if you feel like you're too cool, you can
Go
step outside.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then
if
once you're outside, you feel too hot, come back in.
come back in.
Dude, you know what? I love it here.
Me too, man.
Honestly, everyone has been very accommodating.
Yeah, even the players. I think we've been talking to a lot of the players, and every
We
single
got
one
cake.
of them. We got cake just earlier, and it was from Zeno Zenit's coach.
No, it was from Homeboys.
It was from Homeboys.
Homeboys gave us cake.
Happy birthday, wasn't it for?
It's for their coach, Coach Jeff.
Oh, yeah. Coach Jeff. Shout out Coach Jeff.
Shout out Coach Jeff. Shout out Homeboys for giving us cake. We're having the time of our lives here.
Yeah, every single player is actually enjoying their time here in Riyadh. It's been amazing, and I guess we could see from the games as well, KBG especially. It doesn't seem like they've been enjoying a lot of the food. I haven't seen them, not because it's not good,
Yeah, it's
but because
good.
they've been practicing 13 to 14 hours, and we definitely got to see that, bro. Like, what? The
Dude.
different level entirely that
Hard
they were.
work pays off.
Not always.
Dude, don't be like that.
I mean,
You
like,
gotta be a motivator. You gotta be a positive person.
all right.
Okay.
Hard work is relative. It's subjective, LaFell.
That's true.
yeah.
That's true. I've seen people working for 10 hours and they get nothing done.
That's what I expected from the 13 hours of KBG. I'm not gonna lie.
Dude.
Like when that popped up, I was like, oh man, they're up against S2G, but maybe I helped them in a way.
No, you did not.
I counted
No,
them
you
off.
did not. No.
No, we can't take credit for this.
No, we
No?
legit can't. I want to. Believe me, I want
You
to.
did. You were like, oh yeah, KBG. I've always been supporting
No,
them.
listen
you know?
to what I've been saying.
All right.
I know we want to, but
Okay.
you can't. So now the we is not usable. Only I.
Only you.
Only I. Not you, me.
Sometimes it's great to have 2 L's in your name, you know, because 2 L's make a W.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I have two
And
L's
an
in my
M
name.
can also make a W, you know, if you just
Yeah, just
flip
turn it around.
Yeah, turn it around. Oh, that's why.
Anything can be a W.
Not anything.
An O can be a W if you're creative. If you say you can't, then you're not creative. Shots fired.
I'm trying to figure out how creative I can be to turn an O to a W.
Easy, man. Just grab some scissors and some paper and some string, but more importantly, a pen. So you just grab the paper and then just write a W, and then that's it.
That's, yeah. I don't know how that changes the O to a W, just with the pen.
Just tell people it's an O, and then when they say that's not an O, and then you're like, it's subjective.
That's perfect right there.
The alphabet is subjective.
The world can be whatever LaFell thinks.
The world can be your oyster, but if you're allergic to seafood, it can be your popcorn. Expect the unexpected. Look, guys. Okay, listen.
getting overwhelmed by the
when we're
unexpected
having
right
a
now.
pause, when we're having a pause, the conversation goes a lot of different directions.
Yeah, it's
okay?
an English podcast at this point, right? With the
Yeah,
pause,
it's a
we're just waiting for the game. But I think we can go back to the Entity 7 and, you know,
Yeah, we can
Xeno
talk about
Zenith
draft.
topics. When it comes to the draft and also when it comes to their play style here, I'm really interested to see how, oh, it does seem like we're actually going to have to, like,
we
remake?
might have to redraft here, but either ways, here's the thing. I got a question for you because even I'm not sure, right? For Ling, is it a good first item for a Sky Piercer, right? Think about it, because the Ling kind of needs the Berserker Fury. If you want, you can go for... I've seen some people go for the Endless Battle first, which I kind of feel like may not be optimal.
I've seen people go Haas Claws first, even.
Yeah, Haasclaw for it, which I kind of don't feel... I feel like
Yeah.
you just need more damage. Just build Berserker Fury, so it becomes the question,
I agree with that.
right? Sky Piercer or Berserker Fury or even Haasclaw as the first item for a Ling. I feel like that's a big question that I feel like asking different Ling players, they'll give you different answers.
Yeah, definitely, right? Because if you ask Annabelle, he even goes for a different one. If you ask Kyrie, too, because Kyrie wants to...
I've seen it first item Immortality on the Ling. I feel like it's incorrect.
Yeah, I think it is incorrect,
At
right?
that
Like,
point, I don't think it's subjective.
maybe it is subjective. Maybe he thinks the Ling is an export. Like you said, the world can be whatever you want it to be. It could be an oyster, popcorn, whatever you said earlier.
The Ling can spit out fire.
Okay, that's... If you make your own game, if you're a developer, you make your own game, yes, maybe you can make the Ling spit fire, but not in our... Unless they get a skin, which makes the Ling spit
blades
out fire.
are on fire. Oh, that's cool. The blades are on fire.
Yeah, at this point, right? There's a lot of different items, that you can go for first, the template
First
for
item,
the
yeah.
Ling. But I think I can agree with you where I personally go for the Berserker's Fury and then maybe the Sky Piercer there. So you already have a little bit of damage, a little bit of crit as well in your itemization. But I've seen most Lings, I think this is something that most Lings can agree with as well, is the fact that they don't go for boots first item. They actually go just for the boots to get the retro. And then they go for their full build, or maybe just 3 items or 2 items first before they complete the boots.
Yeah, because Ling doesn't walk.
He flies. Unless he jumps unless you don't get your purple buff. Then, even then, you can with the changes to the energy.
No, you don't. You're
have not as bad as you were before.
You just have to be patient.
You just have to be patient.
Just sit on the wall, think about everything that life has ever done to you, and then, like how a Ling should be, move forward.
You just move forward.
Don't think about the past. Just keep moving. Just keep strutting. Just keep jumping. And speaking of jumping, we can see the phone of the players. They're starting to redraft. So it's either
the Esmeralda pick.
No, it's either the hero picks or like emblems. Like they want to set something different. But either ways, we want to make sure that the players have the best experience because again, it's a best of one. One mistake is fatal. So if everyone's good, then we're jumping into the game. All of our marshals are going to make sure that the players are having a good time. Again, we just don't know. It's going to be exactly the same draft, or we'll be seeing some changes here.
Absolutely. And for you guys, just like LaFell said, you guys have to be patient, just like a Ling without a purple buff. Be patient. And a Fanny. A Fanny, a Ling, most of the assassins, without the purple buff. Just be patient, wait for the time, because obviously we want to give these players all the time in the world to troubleshoot their problems. And fair play is our #1 priority here. So we're going to give them the time to do so with the pause and with the changes here. But it does seem like, at least I feel the drafts will be still the same. I think it might be an emblem issue because I'm not a big fan of the Esmeralda pick, though, I'll be honest with you.
I feel like it takes a while. Okay, here's the thing.
It takes a while, and you don't technically counter anyone. Usually we see an Angela Mathilda maybe, or Harith Angela, and you pick the Esmeralda because you get a lot of value.
No, you know the crazy thing? To be fair, this is the previous patch, not the current one. I tried Esmeralda going up against Harith, did not have a good time. Like, no matter what, the Harith will out-damage me. So it makes to the point where I tried defense build going up against Harith, I do not win. I try a full damage build going up against the Harith, I do not win. Maybe the Harith I went up against is an insane Harith where no matter what I do, I'll just lose. But who knows? Because I'm not the best Esmeralda pretty. I can admit to that. I'm a roamer. I'm not an EXP laner.
Yeah, I don't think that was a skill issue. I think for the most part that's been the case. Even in Indonesia, MPLID, I think Ultra Ego tried to go for the Esmeralda to beat the Harith in lane. Obviously, this was before the whole Esmeralda
I feel laning
change.
is fine, but team fights, yeah, it's a big difference.
Yeah, but that's why we've been seeing Esmeralda, I think, pop up more in the jungle in some regions. And in the jungle, you do get level 4 really, really quick. Your farm is actually deceivingly very fast. So you expect Esmeralda to not clear as fast. I've seen the Esmeralda actually clear even faster than Nolan sometimes.
Oh, wow. Now that's a big deal.
Yeah, exactly. That's a big deal. And once you get that level 4, you go into these lanes, you get that snowball. And especially for the Esmeralda, it's kind of weird where in the early game, you're really, really strong. But you fall off in the mid game, and then you pick yourself back up in the late game. It's one of those heroes where usually we see a snowball, and it's early, mid, late, all the way, or mid to late, depending on, your power spikes. But Esmeralda, she has a bit of that dip, because that dip comes in usually with the anti-regen items. And that's why now I really don't like the Esmeralda, because it's so easy for you to go for that anti-regen item. The glowing wand for most mages now is a prio item. You usually get that first. If you don't go for that, maybe you can go for a defensive one like with Blood Wings. The fact that you can get that so early, it already helps your team to deal with the Esmeralda.
And now we're jumping straight into the second game of the day. It's going to be E7 going up against Zed. Where again, this is going to be a best of one. And we'll see which team is going to win it out. And we're going for another pause. Expect the unexpected.
Expect the unexpected.
You guys thought it was just one pause? Nah, fam.
Nah.
Expect the unexpected.
Welcome. Is this welcome to the English podcast again? Welcome to ML podcast.
Welcome to the ML podcast.
Yeah. For both Mobile Legends and Miracle LaFell.
And now we're going to talk about Thunderbelt. Where in theory, is good. Stacking up your defense and then increasing your damage.
That's the same thing, bro. Like, we were talking about the SPA, the Sky Piercer abusers. We saw so many of that at the start of the game. I saw so many Thunderbolt abusers as well. And at some point, it's like, bro, it doesn't work on every tank hero.
No, okay, here's the thing. I feel like on certain EXPs, it could do well. Like, say, Esmeralda, you can basically attack a lot going up against anyone. But the question is, do you actually scale up enough? Because we see contents where the stack is like 9999, and it's like, of course it's gonna look good, but that's against a bot. Against a real game, like, how much is the average stat that you can get? Like 100 stacks, 200 stacks, maybe even just 70, right? Maybe you never even hit 100 in a normal game.
Especially considering now the games are played at such a fast pace. So that early game, if you do get that snowballing all the way from the start, if you do end games, you will be able to get a lot of stacks. But unless you maybe, blunder a bit and make it go to the late game. But even then, I think it's just really, really tough for some of these teams to go from mid to late. Because the fact that now you can technically force the Lord, and it forces you to also respond to it. I don't know. How do you feel the Lord dance? Or not the Lord dance, rather. Now, there's really no Lord dance. It's more of a Lord step.
I feel like what I would do is I see if the opponent is close enough to the Lord, I'll leash the Lord for, say, 3 seconds. 3 seconds, 4 seconds. I'll move towards the enemy team, and then I'll just dash away. I try to let them get aggro of the Lord, essentially. And then let the Lord, even if the Lord hits once after 5 seconds where the physical penetration is 50% or 60%, it's going to deal a lot of damage.
Yeah, so it's all about giving the Lord over to your opponents. I mean, like, at the start of the Lord, right? Now, obviously not all the time, but
honestly, at this
whoever commits to the Lord, they find themselves at a disadvantage. Even when you're ahead, technically, because you go for the fight, and if you get chunked up, especially your frontliner, or even your assassins.
I feel like the neutral Lord, the Lord below 12 minutes.
It's still okay?
It's fine. Okay, let's say I leash the Lord, say a full 10 seconds. The opposing side comes in, I let them get the Lord aggro, because every single hit of the Lord is true damage. Let them take true damage, true damage, true damage. I let my mage poke them down while they're taking the Lord. Allow them to retreat the Lord, and then after that, they're so low, you go in for the wipeout. It's a lot of 3D chess going on, but
it's a lot of feinting.
I feel like a lot of teams, they're experimenting. Like, is the Lord worth giving over if we get the wipeout? Early game, before 12 minutes, it's debatable whether it's better to get the Lord or better to get a wipeout. At 18 minutes, no debate, wipeout is 100% more worth it than a Lord take.
Yeah, I think we have to agree on that, right? Because the Lord advantage would technically be for you, even if the enemy team gets that Lord. Maybe it'll all change when you get the 3 Lord spawns.